Hey everyone, and welcome back to Maths and Physics, Mr. Simons. Today's lesson on trigonometry, we're looking at the third variation of 4, where the diagram sum tested must first be simplified. So we give you an equation that must be simplified in the ratio, and some learners get caught out with this when we mark it year in, year out. But yeah, after watching this video, you're not going to be caught out no more. So, given 5 sine theta plus 4 equals 0, and theta is less or equal to 270 degrees and greater than equal to 0. So it's going from first to the end of the third quadrant. Calculate the value of sine theta minus cos theta. So first, I must make sine theta the subject of the formula. No? Right, so we have to write it as a trig ratio. So there, if I take 4 over, it becomes negative 4. I always divide by whatever's in front of sine, in this case 5 sine theta. So sine theta then becomes negative 4 over 5. Then I need to remember, according to the ratios, sine theta is always y over r. So given to me, the y value is negative 4 and my r value equal 5. So we must find x using theorem of Pythagoras. But we have to draw this in a proper quadrant. So we need to look in which of those quadrants 1, 2, and 3 is sign negative. Alright? So if you look there, sign is negative. There, sign is positive. Sign is positive there. Here, tan is positive and cos. So in the third quadrant, sign is negative. So we had y as negative 4. We had r as 5. We now need to know in the third quadrant, even x is negative. No? So using theorem of Pythagoras, x squared equal r squared plus, or not plus, minus y squared. Longer side minus shorter side squared. So 5 squared, 25, minus negative 4 squared, which is 16, which then gives me 9. To go from x squared to x, we're going to say square root x squared equal plus minus square root 9. So that gives me x equal minus 3, or x equal 3. But in the third quadrant, x is negative, so x not equal to 3. Right, and that's the difficult part done. So we have to get the correct sign from there. It's not just working with trig ratio. So now we can solve the problem. Right, so we have to simplify sine theta minus cos theta. Sine is y over r, so my y is minus 4, my r is 5. Cos is x over r, so that becomes negative 3 over 5. Negative and negative gives me positive, so minus 4 plus 3 then gives me minus 1 over 5. Let's look at another problem. So number 2, and this one is a favorite we used to catch you out with. If tan A equal P and theta or A, the angle A is less than or equal to 270 and greater than equal to 0, determine the value of 1 minus cos squared A. So again, our trig ratio, we need to know, although I've written P, there's an invisible 1 involved here, right? So I can write it as P over 1. Then I need to know that tan is y over x. So my P value there is my y value, which is plus minus P. And my x value equal plus minus 1. Now, because they're variables, I wrote plus minus, because I still have to figure out in which quadrant is tan positive, right, from 0 to 270. So using theorem of Pythagoras, right, restriction 0 to 270, so I can draw it in the first quadrant or in the third quadrant, right? Normally, we would change it in such a way that we want to catch you out in the third quadrant. So instead of 0 there, they would write 90. So instead of doing it as the first quadrant, because which is too simple for grade 11, I'm going to do it in the third quadrant. So in the third quadrant, x is negative 1 and not positive 1, and y is negative p, not positive p. R is always positive. So r squared equal x squared plus y squared, which gives me negative 1 squared, plus p squared, which then becomes square root of r squared equal plus minus square root of 1 plus p squared. So r equals square root 1 plus p squared, but not equal to minus 1 plus p squared. So 1 mark for proper quadrant, 1 mark for the value of r. Right, now we're solving the problem. So we have to simplify 1 minus cos squared a, which then becomes 1 minus, remember cos is x over r, so my x is minus 1, and my r is square root 1 plus p squared. All squared, right, negative 1 squared is 1, that's squared, the square root falls away, and that negative that's multiplied in just becomes negative. To subtract two fractions, the denominators must be the same, so I've changed 1 to 1 plus p squared over 1 plus p squared minus 1 over 1 plus p squared. So there 1 minus 1 cancels. I'm left with p squared over 1 plus p squared. Right, so that's a basic diagram sum. But we need to know this, as I say, this is basically the first 8 to 10 marks of the 50 marks from trigonometry. Right, continue practicing. God bless. Next problem we're looking at is when we're giving you two equations. Bye.